I would say, first off, hashtag hands up KY.
Oh.
Don't shoot. The troubles of mass incarceration in modern day times. I'm Whitney Owens. We don't have to say our names, I guess.
I'm Stephen Hall.
Dalton Brennan.
We're Berea College students, and we have some messages or conversations we'd like to share with y'all. So we're just gonna sit back and start talking.
Mm-hmm.
So we've been thinking a lot about the school to prison pipeline, and so I think you had something to say.
Yeah, I definitely did. I learned from a teacher at Berea College named Dr. Turley that they actually get they learn how much people are going to be in prison, how many people, by looking at 5th grade reading scores. So to me, that says that, oh, we know that our students are failing at this age, but instead of trying to improve the education system, we're going to put money into prisons. Pretty much. That's what it says to me. What about you, Dalton?
Yeah, you had a friend, right?
Yeah, I had a friend whenever I was in elementary school who got better grades than me, honestly. He kind of got the concepts better than I did, but they pushed him towards community college instead of university or anything like that. They had any time which I kind of didn't feel well about where I was in schooling. They would tell me I was on my way to greatness, I was on my way to university, I was on my way to a master's degree if I wanted it. Like, anything could be mine. And, like, my friend, I knew he could do better than I could. And now he's driving a truck for Coca-Cola, whenever he could have, if he still applies himself, he could do great things. So.
Yeah, that just, the whole structure of the system is set up to make people not able to survive and to access their true capacity for success. You were talking a lot about how a certain noise or sounds could also affect our brains, right? Is that going on with your knowledge?
From studies I've seen things, and plus from what I've experienced, because I went to multiple schools throughout my schooling. I went to 6 different middle schools alone, but in lower income classes for lower intelligent people, classes for just the average public, there's this ring in the background, and it's a binaural beat, and that binaural beat can alter your state of consciousness. And the specific one that they play is one that induces more
compliance?
A compliant state. So you're more likely to be okay with this life that you're told you're gonna have, the world around you. You're more just...
Yeah. Oh, so I was talking a lot about Maslow's hierarchy of needs. They usually structure it as a pyramid, and it will be at the top self-actualization. The next higher up is love and belonging, followed by safety needs, like having a home. Security needs, that's, just basic things. And then physiological is everything from eating to having sex and reprocreating. So, there's a whole substructure well beneath love and belonging. And our society tends not to teach people to know how to have positive relationships because we're on this ego-driven, capitalistic, consumeristic bend where it's all about me. And the American dream is a falsified creation of the society that this is the highest moral value that we can attain. And that people have misconstrued morals with what was actually spiritually right. They've made social values into morals by putting the pinnacle of what we can attain as monetary or financial value in our lives. And that is what has divided our society. And the thing that I really want to say is that there has been a drive from our government to terrorize the rest of the world since the beginning of colonial times. So I'm a white person, and white people, the way that they structure, the way they interact with other people is highly manipulative, deceitful, and exploitative. And you look at all these different relationships, documented facts, you look back at history, and societies have just been destroyed, restructured, and then driven to pursue American capitalist agendas. All across South America, the dirty wars, the drug war that is currently going on is an extension of that, because you send the CIA to disrupt governments, create chaos, and make the country indebted to American industry, forcing them to be in slavery, basically. Complete poverty. And that's just one example, because the drug war extends into America now, and we have too high of a majority of black African males in prison, and the numbers for women, children are continually going up for incarceration, and that's just a model that speaks to how this country is based on slavery and exploitation, and we have not extracted ourselves from that exploitive, manipulative agenda, and we need to rewrite our Bill of Rights and demand that amendment, which allows slavery once a person is imprisoned and convicted of a crime. Well, why aren't the police being convicted of crimes?
Preach. I mean, like, I can go for days off what she just said. It's a lot of stuff this government does that proves that a buck is more important than our lives. Like, I mean, from the industry, all the industries, healthcare industry, it's full of crap. It's to make money. It's not here to help
poisons.
people. Yeah,
it's actually poisons intended to create them to be chemically dependent.
Yep.
And just to continue buying way too expensive materials that are actually harming their bodies. When if they ate good food that wasn't GMO, genetically modified organism, or as this one band, 2MX2, talks about in genetically modified oppression, that it actually creates cancer, the food that we eat, and diabetes.
Diabetes, heart disease, high blood pressure, all that stuff that's associated with food is associated with that, because now, before we had the no fat, they just, they left the fat in there, but now they're taking the fat out and they're adding the sugar. Sugar causes diabetes, obviously, and now they're adding, instead of adding salt to stuff, they're saying MSG. And MSG is just as bad as salt.
Monosodium glucosamate. And then you add, what is it called? Aspartame. And the diabolical mix with sugar is that it gives you a happy, elated feeling for a short amount of time while you're drinking it, a little bit afterwards. And then you have a big crash. You will gain weight. You will become dependent on that chemical to give you that happy feeling. And that's all the while killing the chemicals in their brain that actually tell you when you're happy. The serotonin receptors, because it matches that almost, but it's not the right thing to put into your brain.
And it's crazy because aspartame has been banned in other countries, and we're using it in our food.
Well, actually, pretty much all of that's been banned in most other
exactly.
countries.
Exactly. It's ridiculous.
So why is America still routinely poisoning us through both our food, our air, our water? We have fluoride in the water. That also deadens the pineal gland, which is what helps you dream,
which also
envision future life that gives you happiness and a connection to what you're supposed to do in life. And virtually none of us, like, if you looked at the vast majority and did a survey, I bet you most of us would be like, I don't know what I'm doing, like, I'm just doing what they told me to do to succeed, and I don't really like my job, or I'm dissatisfied, and I feel like I need to go back to school, but I have no options because I've already committed myself. I've indebted myself to the system. I have babies. I have families, and I have to feed them. And then so many people, like, they will resort to selling drugs. They will resort to stealing. They will do things for their families because that's what's necessary. And that gets a lot of people in jail.
Exactly.
Then there's perversion, and then you look at perversion, and that's just a really messed up result like
Mhm.
the baby of
Right, exactly.
the cultic media experience in our society, and the distraction that we've had with glamour or
And if the kid
consumer
doesn't
product.
end up in jail, then they grow up and grow old and grow to resent themselves and their job and probably
Their life.
their family, and like
And if you look across America, it is a predominantly white nation. Like, if you looked at the population numbers, okay, so I think it's like, I'm just gonna say 10% is, let's say, minorities, but
No,
it's
more.
really,
It's
really
about
small
20.
amount. Well, okay, so it's 20%, and maybe
12%
10%
black.
of that, 12% is black.
Uh-huh.
All right, he knows. Good. Okay, so 12% is black, and then you looked at their total population. Like, how many of the people are in prison?
Exactly.
How many? Okay, so there's a ton of white people, and this number maybe it's equal or is more than black people in prison. But if you looked at the total population of black people in America and the like crazy amount of people that are in prison for crimes that, like, if we were to look at the books, we'd be like, well,
I've done
that, and I didn't get in trouble,
Yep.
you know? And like white people, like criming hashtag
Criming
criming
while
while white.
Mhm.
Look that up.
it's sad that that's a thing.
I mean, it just doesn't make sense how you could have, like, only make up 12% of the American population, yet black males make up over, what? Like, how much percent of prisons?
I don't even know.
It's
man.
it's above 60, definitely.
All I know is it pisses
Large
me off
percentage
that
of
you can
prisons.
criming while white and get away with that shit, but you're walking down the street and you're black with a hoodie on
and
and
just,
a remote control in your hand or Wii remote or some shit like that, anything like
any
that.
toy,
Any toy like that.
any fake gun.
See, the thing
Like,
is,
these people are being killed and they're playing with the toys that other people, white people, are allowed to openly carry in the streets. They make the assumption, oh, this black person definitely doesn't have certification to have that gun, so they're about to commit a crime. Where an open carry guy comes in the store and they just wait. What's he gonna do? What's he gonna do? And then he robs them. Like, and the black guy has a toy gun.
Yep. Like, I had a toy gun. There's
What's
so
his
many
name?
cases.
Oscar.
Jordan Crawford had a toy gun in Walmart.
Yeah, Jordan Crawford, R.I.P. And what was the most recent boy? Tamir Rice, R.I.P.
And then there are countless, like that man said, maybe he called us ignorant and said that basically if you don't commit a crime, blah blah blah, the police won't kill you, basically.
Yeah,
but the thing is, number one, if only you're a white person. And what about all the people who weren't committing crimes? What about Ayanna Jordan? She was laying in her bed sleeping. She's a 7-year-old baby. What did she do? Just like Tamir Rice didn't commit a crime. He's allowed to have a BB gun. He's a kid.
And what about the little boy who his mama said that she thinks he was lynched, and that the police didn't do anything about it?
Yeah, the police won't tell her if he was lynched or not. Because they ruled it. They said it might have been a suicide. No, it's not a suicide.
And he was like 8 years old.
You couldn't have got yourself on that swing. Come on now.
How are you
Come
gonna?
on now.
How are you gonna do that? And you're an 8-year-old baby boy? No way. R.I.P. And the fact that it's coming down so hard is that the war of terror that the U.S. has been waging against the entire world, it's not just the U.S., it's the elite people in all the government, you call them the 1% that we talked about with Occupy. And now the rest of us are being exploited, and we're routinely being murdered now in America. They're just basically putting it on our face and saying, look, we're not going to get ourselves in trouble, and we're going to keep using these to basically create a suppressed or coverted genocide in our America.
Yeah, pretty much.
And we can't have that. This is our America. Like, we came here so that we could have peace. The pioneers, we came here so that people could live a different way than that. And yet, there's too many people, industrialists, who control our society and poison us, Why in the world are we ripping holes into our earth, putting drills down, and putting fluid to destroy all the little canals just to get the natural gas out of the earth? And you have little babies up near the Marcellus Shell who are having pancreatic disorders because they're drinking that water. That water that you can put a flame under and it will burst out in flames and just rip your